Germany and France are literally trying to push anti-AC propaganda. I think that you have to understand, I'm not defending this because I do think they need to install AC like post-haste over there, but I think that for a lot of Europeans, the installation of AC is like a serious acknowledgement on their end that things are never going to be okay again. Like in America, installing an AC is pretty normal, but over there, like their houses aren't built for it, their cities aren't built for it, and up until recently, their climate didn't require it. So installing an AC feels like an acknowledgement like, okay, this just is the world now. I saw a post from, I was about to say not just bikes, but not just bikes, and another European, Adam something, thank you. Adam something on YouTube where he said something that hadn't occurred to me before. I hadn't mentioned it on stream before, but because houses are built differently in Europe. In America, our houses are built for AC in a lot of cases. They're built with drywall, they're built with like craftsman construction, so heat and cold circulate through our houses pretty quickly. But in Europe, with these thick stone houses, oftentimes like the reason they haven't needed AC is because the idea is that the inside of the house is really resistant to temperature changes. So if there's a heat wave outside, it doesn't matter as long as it's cool during the night. It can be hot during the day, but if you open up your windows during the night, it's fine. And historically, heat waves in Europe have been during the day. This, where it remains hot throughout the night, is basically unprecedented. It's basically like totally new. So before, it was like, okay, you can just sit out the heat during the day, open the windows throughout the night, and then close them again at like 7 a.m., and you're going to be okay. AC is really only necessary when the nighttime heat continues, and that's just new. That's just not something Europe has had before. Also, if you want to install AC, you have to break open brick walls. Well, there's window ACs, but as Adam something pointed out, a lot of buildings in Europe are protected. They're protected because they're old buildings. They have like a, like a heritage. Like think in Paris, right? Paris is beautiful. You have your classic mid-rise apartments built sometimes hundreds of years ago. They do not want big, lumpy, ugly window AC units hanging out of those windows. And I don't think that's like a good argument for not building AC units, but it does make sense, right? Like I understand aesthetically why there would be a lot of resistance there. Just use mini splits? Well, then you have to carve open stone and brick walls. Again, in America, if you want to install a mini split, it's pretty simple. You literally just run a duct through the empty space between the walls and nail it to the wood. Like you just nail it to the wooden studs, and the tube just goes straight through what would otherwise be insulated drywall space. But in Europe, you literally have to carve through stone, which is a permanent change. You can't change that later. In America, if you want to get rid of a split AC system, you take it down and then you just fucking put the drywall back up. It's very modular. But in Europe, that's not, I'm just saying that I agree that they need to start installing ACs, but like, I really don't think Americans should be chauvinist about it. It's really, really bad over there. Like, I don't know. They've lived in a specific climate for like all time, and now just in the past 20 years, it's been changing very rapidly, and it signals a whole bunch of like cultural, aesthetic, and like social changes, and it's expensive, and it's difficult, it's ugly, da, da, da. Like, I'm not gonna blame them for this. They should, however, get AC units. Also, it's a little bit of an anti-white bias, in my opinion, because if we were talking about non-white people living in a traditionally temperate climate that's suddenly been hit with huge changes due to climate change, we would not be this arrogant in telling them that they need to adjust and change the way that they've traditionally built their houses and how they've structured their lives for hundreds of years. If we were talking about like a community of people in Siberia, or if we were talking about like indigenous people on the western coast of Canada, and they were like, dude, the heat fucking sucks, what the fuck, we've been doing it like this for 1,000 years and now we have to do it differently, I don't think we'd all be like, bro, just get the AC unit, bro, you have the money, bro, just pull the tribal funds, bro. Like, it's not just a money thing, I respect that there are cultural differences between different communities, and that it can make it tough to adjust to changing circumstances, and that America is very socially acclimated to ACs, and that Europe is not, and that it really depends, because Europe's a big continent, so there's a lot of people there, but it depends on the area. I'm not going to be chauvinist about this. The enemy is the fossil fuel companies. I'm not gonna get distracted. I'm not gonna let them turn this into a fucking culture war where American right-wingers are like, bro, just put on the AC, bro. I'm not getting distracted with this, okay? I know who the enemy is. Yes, fossil fuel companies and Israel. Thank you. You know, things are fucked if trains are being canceled. Oh, there were some train lines that were canceled. My understanding is they were canceled because the tracks were melting in some parts in some parts of Germany. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, it's to be more clear. It's not that the metal rails themselves melt. The sun can't melt steel beams, but it was causing enough. There was enough heat that it was causing infrastructural damage. It looks like the heat is melting the asphalt that lines the side of the metal rails, which is causing the metal rails to buckle. Like you have the stone, you have the concrete pavement, and then you lay down the rail lines, and then you kind of bridge them on either side with asphalt. And if the asphalt melts from the heat, it allows the rails to buckle a little bit, which can cause derailing. So it's not literally the steel melting, but it's not great. Oh yeah, look at this dude. Holy shit. See? Big molten blobs of asphalt that line the side of the rails getting kicked up. Which means that the metal rails now have room to buckle, which can cause derailments. Looks like Dookie. That's true. That's the main problem with it, I'd say, as well. What's even worse is that the heat is bad enough it's causing existing AC systems in Europe to fail. The EU Commission headquarters in Brussels had to shut down the AC because the heat was damaging it. My understanding was they kept the AC working for the upper floors. Did they not? Or am I thinking of a different building? Yep. Shut down the air cooling system from floors 1 to 7 for the rest of the day. The 13-story building is home to Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Yeah, they kept the AC working for the rich, important bureaucrats on the upper floor. Mwah. Von der Leyen works on her 13th floor, and most of her commissioners' offices are housed on floors 8 or above. So, like, the powerful European bureaucrats get to keep their AC. Very nice. Very nice. Mad Max, but with air conditioners instead of fuel. Do not allow yourselves to become addicted to the air conditioner. Yeah, but higher floors get hotter. I feel like, and I'm being serious here, I think Ursula von der Leyen has a moral responsibility to lead from the front and shut off the AC to her own office as well. You know? As Alexander the Great poured water from his helmet onto the sand and declared that no one would drink before his army did, he would not drink before his army did. You have to lead by example. She can go downstairs too. Yep. She is evil though, so yeah, not likely to happen. Here in California, a lot of farmers' seasonal crops have died because we've been whiplashing weather, so the plants get stressed. Yep. Yeah, no, it's very, very bad. It's the reason why I've been so unapologetic when people are like, you're dooming. I'm sorry. It's just an honest reflection of the state of the world, man. It's genuinely very not good. I think a lot of people still think that, like, the history ended. You know what I mean? People think, like, they have it in their heads. They're like, we talk about how things can get really bad. Everyone loves to talk about thermonuclear war. Nobody actually thinks it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, doomsday clock, da-da-da. But, like, no one actually thinks one day they're going to step outside and see a big white ball of light erupt, 50,000 feet over their city's downtown area and go, well, guess it happened. I feel like even during the peak of the Cold War, even during the Cuban Missile Crisis, a lot of people were like, I don't know, sounds far-fetched. Then again, often underreported, little grim statistic, a lot of people killed themselves during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Breathlessly covering the world's, brinksmanship, how close we were to Armageddon, a lot of people were just like, I don't want to live in a apocalyptic fallout nuclear wasteland. A lot of people just killed themselves, couples, old people, young people. People were very spooked. Going to be a lot of climate suicides, I can tell you that much. At this rate, humanity's dying in 50 years. I don't necessarily believe that, but it does kind of feel like we're on track for forced degrowth. Climate disasters might make... the environment might self-regulate in the sense that the changing climate makes it impossible to maintain the levels of industrial production that have caused climate change in the first place. We might be going through forced degrowth, which is not great. That's not like the nicest dismount. You kind of want like a very productive economy, ideally, so you can transition into a clean economy. But, well, anyway, what this is all building towards is the world's worst El Niño. there's a lot of variable data on this because it's kind of difficult to predict something that is as multivariate as surface ocean temperatures. But peak Niño 3.4 sea surface temperature now forecast potentially to be over 4 degrees Celsius. So what you'll see here is that a lot of these prediction lines are literally going off the chart kept by the NOAA here. So, like, the NOAA made a chart, and they thought it was a fine chart. It's a good chart, sir, but they didn't make it tall enough. So, if that tells you anything about the severity here, it's not great. Got to stretch that y-axis a little bit. Second worst El Nino? Maybe in relative terms. Why? Ocean temperatures. Here we go. During El Nino, surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean are consistently higher than normal. We're getting a great big ocean temperature wrap. Here, we can read about it. The El Nino global weather phenomenon is likely to be particularly intense this year, scientists warn. If so, North America may face extreme weather, higher food prices, and greater health risks. Oh, OBS is mad at me? Okay, I'll wait. Hold on. It's fine. I'm not mad. Little blip there. We good now? Okay, nice. Yeah, little OBS blip, but I think we're okay. Anyway, natural phenomenon occurs when sea surface temperatures are 0.5 degrees Celsius higher than normal for several consecutive months. Scientists forecast a 63% chance of sea surface temps exceeding 2 degrees Celsius. That would make this a super El Nino. Wetter and stormier conditions to the south and drier, hotter temperatures to the north. Increased rainfall will bring some much-needed relief to drought-stricken states in southeastern U.S., but there's also an enhanced risk of flooding. Atmospheric rivers to make landfall more frequently. Sky rivers, how interesting. Heavier rainfall, windier conditions. Hotter weather in the Pacific Northwest. Damn. Disease outbreaks, mosquito storms, hurricanes, major hurricanes, wildfires, less snow in Canada, agricultural disruptions, supply chain, food prices. You get the deal. You get the deal. You understand. Very biblical? Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, certainly the evangelical Christians are going to read it that way, you know? Johnson says this El Nino could be among the strongest we've seen over the past century. Last occurred in 2015, 2016. Global temperature record, da-da-da. Yes. Well, not great. The mosquitoes are already much more horrible here in Canada. Maybe people are going to finally start listening to that mantra, don't kill the spiders, they keep the bad bugs out. People are finally going to listen. But for some reason, we still can't embrace nuclear energy. We don't have time for nuclear energy. It's got to be solar. It's got to be solar. You team spider? I might be, after all this. It's not good. It's not good.